Hello, viewers. A very wonderful morning, and welcome to Africa and Beyond Television Network. And this morning, we are taking a look on something very important. Don Zamsoro, who happens to be the presidential spokesperson, he has said something which confirms what we have been talking about in the past days. So let us go straight to the issue of the rest in peace advert for President Emerson Dambudzo Mnangagwa. On the other part, it was a condolence message. On the other part, it was a congratulatory message. So this is something very important. He talks about how the Modus team went to offer or to proffer an apology to President Emerson Dambudzo Mnangagwa, which he accepted. And he mentioned two issues. Number one is about what Alpha Media Holdings said on Zimbabwe and Zambia relations. We saw it being condemned by Don Zamsoro himself. Then he then talks about this recent one of the RIP. And we need to take a look on what is very important. So we are going to pick what is very important from this statement. So he said two key elements set this matter apart. Okay, this is what differentiates these two matters is that the Modus group offered an apology to the president and to the Minister of Defense. And they also went there in person to offer that apology. Okay, so right, I'm trying to go straight to the most important part right here. So here is the part. The president was not yet done. Did the Modus group know that he had powers in the constitution which allowed him to detain suspects for 7 long days without courts asking, or that he had instructed CIO to collect them and deposit them in detention? So this is the most important part right here. It claims that already an order had been made for an arrest to be effected so that they are thrown into detention. And two things are right here. Number one, he says, without mentioning the section or the part, the president can effect an arrest of some people or of some suspects, or can order effect to arrest some people or some suspects, and they can stay for 7 long days without the courts asking, or without anybody asking the whereabouts of those people, or asking the reasons why these people have been arrested without trial. And also, he says there was an instruction for the CIO to collect them and deposit them in detention. To me, this is a problem, because once you have the CIO with such powers to arrest a citizen who have not committed a crime, this was an error in the line of duty. Which means if such a thing can happen, this then confirms the reason why they had to visit him at 4 a.m. This confirms something very fishy. Who then tipped this guy to leave because they couldn't find him at his home? Who tipped him to leave his home? What made him leave his home at 4 a.m.? So if you look at whatever which is happening, then this is the wrong precedent which is being set right here. This statement from this presidential spokesperson, when he speaks about two issues, right? The power of the president to order an arrest, that is point number one. Number two, the CIO given instructions to collect someone and deposit them in detention. That is something else, Team Zimbabwe. In my own view, we must follow the law to the letter. How are people arrested? I don't believe that this is an issue in terrorism. Maybe on circumstances there is something in regard to terrorism or to something else. Maybe under such circumstances, CIO ndopa ingata step in they arrest and they put those people into the hands of the police. But when it comes to my issues akaita se aya, I don't see the need to involve CIO to go and collect somebody. This is something which is happening in the line of duty of somebody. And the whole message, if you read everything, the contents of everything, this was a congratulatory message. Then you go to the final piece, ndo pakangonzi may he so rest in peace. That does not warrant kuti ma-CIO atodeployiwa kuenda kunovhima munhu. Honestly, guys, that is scary. That is scary. This is the reason why it's scary to be in Zimbabwe. It's very, very, very difficult to be in Zimbabwe. If somebody is operating from Zimbabwe, that person, if you are a politician, if you are a journalist operating from Zimbabwe and you are reporting as it is, or if you are holding the government to account, then you are not safe. This is the honest truth, guys. You are not safe, because if these things can happen kumunadaro, what about those who criticize the government? What about those who differ with the government? What about Vana Pastor Messiah? What do we have to say? What about Vanaita Zamara? What do we have to say? This is so wrong. This is the reason why you have seen a lot of people like Vana Justina Mkoko, they always narrate the history of torture which they suffered under the hands of Robert Mugabe. So, guys, this is it. It's a confirmation that indeed that raid yaida kuitika, which was confirmed yesterday, it has been confirmed right here. It has been confirmed because we have not seen the government refuting that position ekuti kune vanhu vakatomukira kumba kwake, or even questioning kuti vanhu ivavo vakazomukira vaakudei. This is not a person who was on the run. This is a person who simply did his job dismally. He failed to do his job as an editor, and he was now at home. Why follow him? Why can't you just call him to say, come and see us, come, let us talk, let us meet? So this is what's happening. And George also confirms that they had a heated argument netimre rekwaningi re Alpha Media Holdings, who didn't want to make an apology, but he then applauded this team for making a quick apology. And this is what he says. I do not know, guys, your thoughts, your views about this whole issue, but to me it sounds weird. To me it's something I never expected to hear. Kuti they even brag, kuti we can use the constitution to arrest so and so and then detain them for 7 days. The president can order an arrest to be effected by the CIO. This is something else. But I just pray that the people of Zimbabwe, very critical people of Zimbabwe, I just pray that God protects them. I just pray that God makes them safe wherever they are. Because at this rate, then we are not safe. So Ed says it's a good read, and the humor from His Excellency is commendable. However, we must remember that HE is merely a civil servant and doesn't warrant such godlike adulation. He is human, just like any director. This kind of hero worship is risky, and a published apology should have sufficed. So Don Zamsora says he is a civil servant, is asking, you cannot be that illiterate, surely. Let us go to the constitution. We have what is called the head of state and government. We have the ministers. So we have come from the executive, we go to the ministers, we have gone down to parliament, we go down to the armed forces, security forces. Then we have massive servants under the ministries. For example, teachers are working under the Ministry of Education, doctors are working under the Ministry of Health, everybody is working under a certain department. If you go to the police, they work under the home affairs, to the soldiers, they work under the defense ministry, or go to the CIO, they work under the ministry, the state security ministry. All these departments are headed by the ministers, and all these ministers, they report to the president, who is the top, at the top, which means it's a line of civil servants from the president going down. You cannot say iwewe wasiana nevamwe simply because you are at the top. No, that is the problem which we have. These people are elected by us. We give them mandates. We give them those mandates through an election. Vachiuya kuzokumbira election, vanouya vachikumbira vachinzwisa urombo. Tavapinza vakuzvita vana mambo. And murikuzvona. That is the problem which we are having in Zimbabwe. The politics in Zimbabwe need to depolarize. The politics in Zimbabwe need we need a new direction. We really need politicians who are going to introduce a new direction, such that we don't continue to have demigods in charge of affairs. This is the problem. I do not know, guys, your thoughts, but I agree with this with Eddie. What Eddie is raising right there is something which is very important. Okay, Yellen says their job was to copy the advert submitted by the MOD. So someone at the newspaper mistakenly added a whole RIP sentence on his own and then failed to proofread it. Incompetence yacho, or they used a template. Glad it's all sorted. Okay, so this is what happened to Team Zimbabwe. I don't want to continue with this, but what is of importance is to note that it has been confirmed indeed. Vakuru varikuti president can effect an arrest inogona kuitika zvekuti munhu anogona kutoenda for 7 days pasina abvunza kuti munhu wedu ari kupi, and that is the part which we're highlighting right there. And also they said that the president had ordered for an arrest to happen to these guys, which he resigned because the boss of the CIO was there. Probably he was given that order by the president, then he gave his boys an order just down there, which means vakomanava, these are the people at the disposal of the president, yekuti vanogona kushandiswa anything zviri kuda mukuru ipapo without the involvement of the police. And kana polisi ikazouya manje yakuti vakuchida kuita investigations, it becomes a problem, because how do you investigate such a case yekuti yabva kumukuru, direct order yatopiwa operation ikatoitwa nevakomana vemukuru and everything else? Then this makes us go back to the issue of Itai Dzamara, kuti what really happened? Who ordered Itai Dzamara to disappear? How did he disappear? That is very important. And I hope that one day we will get the much needed answers. Thank you very much, everybody, for coming. Let us meet in other episodes and other broadcasts.